Okay.
It's 1:05, so I think we should get started.
Okay.
Okay,
Yeah, go right ahead. Yeah, and I'll dial in.
Okay.
I'd like to call this annual general meeting in 2024, happens to be the 9th of March, to order. This meeting's being recorded, and the message is on the screen, so it'll be stored. Yeah, hopefully everybody's comfortable with that. I'm just going by this. Can I get that? Let's see. Got it. Okay. Introductions. I think everybody pretty much knows everybody here. Am I correct in that? Is there anybody that doesn't feels like they don't know anybody? I'll be happy to do it. Oh, thank you, Colleen. 3, 7, okay, good. And I have Eric Majors in the background. He said he's gonna go up to his office and put his own computer on, and Dee Dee's here too, so.
We don't
Dee
know
Dee.
who else is here, Larry. Should we?
I think we're in pretty good shape. So AGM business. I'd like to, I guess the annual, I didn't read it lately, but I guess the meeting from the 2023 meeting notes has been published. And is there any, I'd like to get approval. Anybody want to approve it, or any comments first?
I move that we approve the minutes as presented for 2020.
And I have a second.
I'll second that.
Thank you, Ted. A copy of the minutes was sent out a week prior to you by email, so we have a motion to approve and second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
That was an aye. That wasn't an opposed, right?
No.
Okay, sounds like we have an unanimous approval. Okay, and the next item on the agenda is the Lake Chapala budget highlights. And is that something we open up?
Yep.
There we go. Likewise, it was sent out last week. We expect our expenses to be $20,000 US, and it's focused on fundraising and voter assistance and GOTV. That's really the reason we're here, is GOTV.
Get out the vote.
Get out the votes. Thank you, Terry. We anticipate donations around 22,000 US dollars, and they're going to be primarily raised by the Film Festival and 4th of July celebration. All donations, large and small. I love it. And I'm just reading this quickly, so if you have any questions, stop me. Otherwise, we're going to make it a fairly short meeting unless there's some significant questions. A year in review, Democrats abroad. I guess I'm looking at different pictures.
I wasn't. I'm not sure he can, but sorry, Larry. Here's Janet. Janet had something to add.
Oh, good. Okay.
Okay, I apologize for the technical difficulties. Have we introduced all the board members today?
We have.
Okay, and also I wanted to give a huge thank you to Emily Perry, who is our DA Mexico board member here locally, and she assisted us getting online. And I wanted to ask, have we already approved the minutes from last year's AGM?
We have.
Yes. Yeah, we did.
Okay, and let's see, we are into the point of funding our chapter, correct?
No, we're past that.
Okay.
We're actually reviewing a year in review, Democrats abroad. We're in that section.
Yes, okay. We're proud of what we've accomplished in 2023, and we'd like to share something about what happened in our chapter in 2023. We have over 2,000 members in the Lake Chapala region, and we raised funds to support our voters approximately 17,000 US dollars, which met our budget needs for the year. We supported everyone who asked for assistance with registration, ballot requests, and ballot returns. Hundreds and hundreds of voters. We assisted in calling thousands of US citizens in Mexico to remind and encourage them to vote. We regularly informed our members and our voters in the Lake Chapala region via in-person events, social media, and in print of important news, events, and vital information. We held 22 educational, social, and motivational events with great attendance at each one. Now, our Vice Chair, Larry Peel, will tell us a little bit more about all of these wonderful events that we held last year. Thank you, Larry.
You're welcome. I have to read on my small computer screen, but actually, I didn't attend the first. I can't read it.
No.
Oh, I did. That's Tron Day. Tron is
So I can go over some of these if that's helpful, Larry.
yeah. Well, I think it's fairly clear. But she was a guest speaker, and she came to talk about her program in Guadalajara to help U.S. citizens who have been deported from the United States. Some of them even were military, and they were deported to Mexico. It's quite a process to have them get reinstated, and she's been doing that. And that she was talking about that whole issue of deportation and some of the tragic things that go on within the immigrant and U.S. citizen populations that have suffered from from a lot of damages of the past. We also had Alex Larson talk about Social Security. It was another wonderful presentation. And I don't know if anybody wants to talk further about it because I was on a trip, I think, at the time.
He talked primarily about the need to stop Social Security cuts, which is definitely what the Republican Party is wanting to do right now. They have set up a commission to cut benefits for Social Security and to raise the retirement age.
Oh, this is Janet speaking, Ted.
Good. Okay.
I just want to chime in here on the stop Social Security cuts. So one of the things that we saw during the State of the Union on Thursday evening was the Republicans surprised, taking no responsibility. Oh, we don't want to cut Social Security. And of course, Trump is claiming that, but yeah. Every single time they submitted a budget, there were Social Security cuts in that budget. So 4 years during his term, every single year. So they can say whatever they want to. It's not true. They do want to, in fact, enact Social Security cuts. What those are, we don't know. But this gentleman, Alex Lawson, from a group called Social Security Works, is on it. Was a great speaker, and don't believe them. They are not, surprise, telling the truth.
He's from Ohio. Is that what I remember?
No, that's
Maybe.
David Pepper.
Oh, you're right. It was David
Yeah.
Pepper. Yeah. Okay.
Could I add that he also discussed the Social Security Fairness Act, which was introduced in March last year. And one of the issues of that is not only to help Social Security, but to eliminate the government pension offset, the Windfall Elimination Act, which I personally would like, but anyway, he did talk about this act.
Okay. Good. Terry, did you want to talk about some of these? You have a better screen, I think, than mine. I'm having trouble.
I don't know
Sure.
that you need to speak about every one of these. If anyone has not seen these, they're all on our YouTube channel and you can rewatch them.
Great
So-
summation.
I
Cole.
agree with Colleen.
I agree.
Yes.
Thank you.
Bring along.
So I think Janet's speaking now.
Other speakers, we had the co-executive directors from the Trust Women Foundation in Nebraska and
Kansas.
issues about reproductive
Yeah,
justice,
that was really good.
continuing criminalization of pregnant people in this country. We also had Gruel, and she is in Eagle Pass, and she
Texas.
was talking with us about what is going on at the border. Had a presentation about tax challenges that are specifically unique to expats living here in Mexico, primarily our retirees. And then last but not least, we had David Pepper, who is the former chair of the Democratic Party in Ohio, and he has written a book entitled Saving Democracy, and he told us how it starts from the ground up.
Thank you.
Okay, and then Larry, did you want to talk about our social events that we had in 2023?
We had some really good ones. I enjoyed the mixer. That was a lot of fun. Unfortunately, the restaurant's not there anymore, but anyway, we'll do other things. The 4th of July celebration was quite a success. We'll have it again. I think there's a strong committee working on the next one. So we're looking forward to hearing what's going to be up in store for us in 2024. Ilona et al. Helped set up the Gay Pride event, and there was a lot of games involved, which you can see her smashing a piñata.
Somebody we don't want to mention.
Yeah. Well, I see a lot of orange. What's that mean? Okay.
Yeah, a rotten orange.
Yes. And we had a holiday party that was sold out. We were fortunate to have Meredith supply through one of her friends some tamales, and it was a real good time had by all. Next.
In addition, we held mixers and events in West Ahihic and Central Ahihic as well.
Right. There's a film series running right now that many of you may know about. If anyone would like tickets or the ability to have home showings, we're happy to support you. Please talk to one of the board members after. We're into the 3rd film coming up this season, but that's showing last season. This season's flyer looks a lot like that one. We had a real good turnout, and I don't remember the exact dollars, but I think it was something over $4,000 raised for that. We also held a meeting that showed the Navalny film, but it's in English also. So that's advertising that one. So we probably will do some more of that going forward. Our main goal this year, obviously, is to make sure that President Biden has a successful run this year, and that we put a lot of Democrats in the House and Senate.
Take them back, both chambers.
Take them back, right? Exactly.
Hey, Larry, did you next want to talk anything about our book club?
I'll talk about it.
Okay.
Dee Dee. We had 3 book club meetings last year. The first one was Laboratory of Autocracy and by David Pepper. And after that, we had a speaker. He spoke to us. It was very good. I Swear by Katie Porter is a cute book on her book, Politics is Messier Than My Minivan. And if you haven't read it, it's really lovely. And then, of course, Democracy Awakening. Heather Cox Richardson has been just a wonderful resource for us. We read her every day, and her Democracy Awakening, that meeting actually was very successful. And we're looking forward to having more book club meetings this year. I think it doesn't matter what we're doing this year. Okay.
Okay, Terry, you're up.
Oh, these are communications. Okay, sorry. All right, I'm going to put the phone down, Janet. You may not be able to see this, but I'm holding it up to my speaker. So we had many accomplishments in the communications side of the world. So in communications, we're responsible for several different areas. As you can see here, getting the word out in terms of events, whether social or informational or motivational. I also kind of a pet project, no pun intended, am a big proponent of making sure everyone knows about Project 2025. If you don't, follow our Facebook page because we're talking more and more about that. Project 2025 is the blueprint, the mega blueprint for turning our current federal government into a dictatorship. I am not exaggerating one iota. You can call it whatever you want, authoritarian, fascist, whatever. It is bad. It's real. It's scary. Everyone should know about it, certainly on this meeting. And we got to fight back because it's a 1,000-page document that talks about what they plan to do. Wipe out the what they call Schedule F folks. They want to make sure everyone's at will. It's going back to they want to go back to the days of King George III is what they'd like to do, I think.
Great.
Giving Tuesday, we did outreach in terms of donation. It was semi-successful, I would say. We can always use more donations. So as I mentioned, Facebook, Instagram campaigns. We're doing a lot more posting. Well, I shouldn't say more, but a lot of posting continues, even though Colleen has left that area, and my heart still breaks about that fact. But it's true.
Yes.
In any event, we're on social media. Other than X/Twitter. We've paused that for the time being. We may be going back. We are considering, we'll get to this in 2024 Outlook section, reinstituting Twitter and possibly TikTok. There's a brand new web page section on our web page that's focused. It's basically technically called the news section, but we've taken it over. It's really helpful information on how to vote and why to vote. 7 reasons to vote, all of the famous things that we do in terms of helping people on the how to vote side are continued as well, including deadlines. I want to mention that the #1 reason that votes are not counted is because the ballots get there too late. So I can't say strongly enough that early is better, early is better, early is better. If you haven't already requested your ballots for this year, and that includes automatic registration, please, please, please come see us on Monday, March 11th, or on 2 weeks later, March 25th. I think we're pretty much back to Mondays for voter assistance at LCS, at Lake Chapala Society. Right now, based on the last numbers I saw, I think we're basically at about 20, I saw 27%, so maybe we're at like, maybe, let's say 30%, might be optimistic, but so about 30% of our members have actually requested their ballots, which is great at this point in the year. But remember, primaries are going on right now. We've got almost 30 states voting in March. We, had Super Tuesday this past week. So I know a lot of people are under the misperception that, oh, I can just wait until October. You cannot do that in Mexico. It does not work. So we're really stressing early is better. Request your ballots now, especially if you are in some more interesting states like Texas, where it's sometimes a moving target as to how to work with them and get your ballot request through and your ballot back. So one more shout out for mail back only states, or almost half of the states require you to mail back your ballot. That's your only option. Since you're doing it from Mexico, you have to allow more time. You probably already know that if you've voted more than one time, because it's at least a 3-week process to go from here in the Lake Chapala area up to Laredo and then into the US mail. So we do a whole, I think we've already touched on this, but we do a whole string of communications, email blasts. I know everyone loves to hate those, but they're our #1 way of getting the word out as to what's going on. We have done, we've beefed up our welcome campaign so that folks who are joining Democrats Abroad for the first time receive a number of email kind of guidance tools so that they know what's going on. We're not the most intuitive organization in some cases, especially given that our topic is not the easiest to always understand, but we try and make it easy, and I think we really do. We've seen some other folks take a run at this. I won't name names, but I think we've got it down. So next page.
On to Janet.
Wait, I'm gonna put the phone up
Can
again.
I stop for just a minute and say kudos to Terry? This is a fabulous list and a fabulous effort, and I'm really pleased. Thank you,
I
Terry.
agree. He
Yes,
works
thank you.
tirelessly for us.
And I wanted to point out this wonderful new campaign that Terry has started in their own words. And he's highlighting exactly what Donald Trump is saying and exactly what other members of the Republican Party are saying. Stephen Miller and
Ugh.
Mark
And then,
Steve Bannon, on and on and on.
the things they're saying. Because we're too often accused, oh, well, you're just hysterical Democrats and you're lying. No, this is exactly what they said. Okay, I was going to move on now and let you know what is in store for 2024. You will see on the screen the 2024 goals for the DALC chapter: to increase the membership base, to increase the number of members who volunteer and are actually active, to assist as many U.S. citizens as possible in getting their ballots, and fourth, raise the funds that we need to do all of the above.
good.
And I forgot to point out earlier when we were discussing the budget that we received absolutely no assistance whatsoever from Democrats abroad, or financial assistance. In fact, we pay DA for communication assistance in our chapter. So we do a lot to just raise funds, and our then in a few moments our fundraising chair will speak with you, but right now our events coordinator, Dee Kemhai, will tell you about some of the wonderful events that we have in store for 2024.
Okay.
Dee?
Yeah, I'm here. I'm here. We have mixers coming up, we have parties coming up, and we have celebrations coming up, and all of them are being very well attended. Our speaker events are continuing. We're in the midst of our film festival right now. Our next movie is what's his name?
Rustin.
Rustin. And I have already seen that film, and I will definitely recommend it. It's just excellent. So the film festival this past week, we showed Navalny. We had 90 people there, and we served shots of vodka, which went over very nicely. And so that's coming. Stamped Up from the Beginning is coming. That is based on
Dr. Zindi, I think is his name, if I'm pronouncing it.
Yeah.
what's his name?
It's a book, yes, a national bestseller.
Yeah, and I've read, he wrote How to Be a Non-Racist, which was excellent. The book club we've already discussed, but the next book is Liz Cheney's Oath and Honor. If you guys haven't read it, it is the best book I read in a long time. And
This is from Dee, who is not a big Republican cheerleader.
No, the only
Very content.
time I wanted to take, my marker was when she mentioned her father or Ronald Reagan. But other than that, I was just very impressed. And I just read an email by some Republican who read the book and said, I'm leaving the Republican Party. I don't remember who it was, but did you guys see that?
He was on MSNBC this morning.
Yeah. What's his name?
Something like Hunt, I think. Or,
Yeah, well, anyway, he was excellent.
Yeah.
Coming up is what's his
Christian Robinson.
Christian Robinson is going to be speaking about environmental conservation, and he will be giving us wonderful toothbrushes made out of bamboo, and he's going to be a hoot. So we're looking forward to him. So we have a lot going on this
We have
year.
24 events in 2024. I love it.
Wow. Wow.
Yes.
And that
And
doesn't count voter assistance, right?
Yeah, not counting
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, that's great.
Exactly. Yes. And I wanted to add back to our movie series that's going on, our film festival, because we are totally FEC compliant. That means Federal Election Commission compliant. U.S. citizens must purchase tickets online. You can either do this yourself, Terry has wonderfully put the website in all our ads in the Guadalajara Reporter, and there are flyers around town, or you can arrive at the theater 30 minutes early, and there will be volunteers there to assist you in making your purchase online. Be sure to bring your credit card with you.
And the kudos to the volunteers who are there. They've been doing a great job getting everybody into the theater on time.
Well, and I want to say kudos to Larry, and I thought Donna was going to be on here. I don't see her on here, but
She is. Yeah, Donna's here. She's down
Donna,
below. Yep.
Alona, the whole team that has done this, not just this year, but years past. And I would love if one of you could just kind of walk us through the movies. I know we've got a couple of minutes. This is one of our biggest fundraisers, but I think just as important, if not more so, is there are some really fantastic movies here that are really telling us what's going on under the kind of rubric of democracy versus dictatorship.
Ilona, why don't you do that?
Okay, I was going to say either that or give the floor to Donna. I'm writing the summary, so it is the fastest. Well, I think the thing that is particularly important here is we have some great films. And then that's our big objective, to get the crowds in. So those include, in particular, Rustin, which is going to be tomorrow, and Fahrenheit 451 is another one that was a major film about science fiction, future, but it's about book burning that's going on right now. So it's very serious comment about the fact that there's been an abolition of knowledge. The other films that are particularly important, The American Dream, which is produced by Abigail Disney, who is the granddaughter of Walt Disney. And she's trying to show how through the disequalities that are in the Disney Corporation, how that reflects on the economy in general, and how people are being the divide between the rich and the poor, of course, is just increasing exponentially. Oppenheimer and the Atomic Bomb, I hope we get a lot of people in, because this is a true explanation of the international scientific team, not just Oppenheimer himself, who's featured in the big blockbuster, but the actual team, which came from Europe, from Britain, and from a number of other countries, Germany, Hungary, Italy. And so I think it's really historically important why we do a mea culpa again and try to look at nuclear war, which is a severe problem. The Price of Freedom, I think this is a great film that's been chosen, trying to show what the NRA is up against. And actually, they have had problems with funding. So we might actually have some possibilities here for gun control. It's pie in the sky, but we'd like to wish it. The other films which have been seen, Soul of America, and Navalny, and then the last two is living in the time of dying, which will be our environmental climate film about how we can try to reassess what we've got and hang on to it in the best way possible, being as environmentally protective as possible, and Unknown Killer Robots about what the military is doing with AI. It's really critical that we know that aspect of the military as well. By the way, the responses that we've received so far have been 20, 30 people have passed by saying thank you for all of your efforts, to all of the group for what we're producing and for the chapter. And it's really nice to feel that. They've also been applauding loudly.
Thank you, Alona.
Thank you. Yes. Now let's go on and have our Get Out the Vote coordinator, our Vice Chair, Larry Peel, explain to us about how we are supporting voting efforts in the Lake Chapala region.
Larry, you're on mute.
Larry, you're muted, Larry.
That I don't want to ever be muted. That would be bad. We got off to a real good start in January with an international effort in Democrats abroad to register. So it was a good start. We've been almost every Monday and some Tuesdays, we've been doing voter assistance at Lake Chapala Society. We're probably something over 250 people that we've actually helped live at LCS. Probably an equal number have already done work themselves online and done it themselves. But it's a continuing effort. People will have questions, and we're there, and we have some real good origami specialists figuring out how to fold the Texas ballots. But we're having fun with it. There's a great staff of folks. Many of you here have been there and been involved in doing the computer data entry, helping usher people in and out, answering questions. And we've been lucky too to have Emily Perry involved with on the national level, but she's also in our chapter, and she's been a great support with helping feed information on the many changes that are ongoing all the time. States don't, when they publish the manual on how they're going to handle elections every year, it doesn't stay stagnant. So the day that they publish the big book in the sky with all states information, it's out of date. But we're following the changes pretty well, and it'll be. I think it's important to let Americans know that their chances to vote, if we don't participate, they'll be taken away. I suspect there'll be a strong effort to try to eliminate us from voting in the future here overseas. So I'm very, very encouraging. I think somebody's still not muted, but I'm really encouraged that that people seem to be much more concerned about voting this year and afraid. But boy, after the last presentation by President Biden in the State of the Union, I feel so energized by this, and I think we can do it. But I'm not going to let any seconds slide between now and November to make sure we pull it off. So, anybody have any other comments to make on the Get Out?
I did want to second one of Larry's comments about how it is a goal of the GOP right now to get rid of what they call excess registration, meaning voters from overseas, voters from abroad, because the voters from abroad made the difference in the presidential election in 2020 in 2 swing states that was even mentioned in the January 6 hearings, that what difference the votes from abroad made in Arizona as well as the state of Georgia. So I think that these changes that Larry has discussed, that the changes that are going on in different states, that yes, you do have to send a hard copy and so on and so forth. That's being done intentionally to make voting more and more difficult.
Ted and Priscilla might like to say something at this point. Go ahead and unmute.
Yeah, I subscribe to a different podcast, not podcast, but blog on Substack written by Robert Hubble, who is an extraordinary, retired now, international finance lawyer, progressive Catholic who has been relentlessly anti-Trump. And he just put out a bulletin I didn't know about. I'm not sure if anyone is familiar with an organization called Field Team 6. It's
Field
an
6.
organization which is devoted specifically to registering Democrats nationwide. Doesn't directly involve Dems abroad, but I think it'd be a really interesting thing to look into. They have a full day annual summit on the 14th from our time, from 10 o'clock to 7 in the evening. He will be speaking, Simon Rosenberg will be speaking, Jessica Craven will be speaking, and I'm going to register and I'll send the link to Larry so he can distribute it.
Please do.
I want to do a quick call. Thank you, Ted. That's incredible. I want to do a quick call out. So there's another version of what we're doing right now at the national level on March 30th, actually the same time, 1 o'clock. Simon Rosenberg will also be there. And if you don't know Simon, what's great about Simon, and I would say Robert Hubble as well, is that they're both very positive. And it's not just pie in the sky positive. It's like, I'm positive we're going to win because boom, 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 like 6 different support points. And so if you get overwhelmed with some negative stuff, especially, I'm sorry, I'm really frustrated with the New York Times right now. If you
Yes.
get frustrated with what they're saying, it provides another perspective, and I think the right perspective, because I don't know what's going on with the media, but they're not doing us any favors right now. And when I say us, I mean the American people, not just Dems abroad.
Yeah, Robert actually has been concentrating on the extraordinarily biased and odd negative framing going on at WAPO, at the New York Times, and he articulates very well with concrete examples exactly how erroneous their framing is.
Right.
Thank you, Ted. I
We need
also
a
want
big
to
blue
give a
wave.
shout. I'm sorry.
So we need a big blue wave to overcome that.
Yes.
I want to give a shout out to Devorah Kelly, who's done a phenomenal job of organizing all the volunteers. Our primary focus is voter assistance, and she's making sure we're all staffed up. So good job, Devorah.
Yay, Deborah.
Next, our fundraising chair, Eric Luria, will explain our fundraising efforts here in the Lake Chapala chapter of Democrats Abroad.
Sorry.
Our goals this year are to support efforts to raise our operations, which we estimate around $20,000. It's a pretty big amount. Aside from some small operating expenses, nearly all our fundraising goes toward voter assistance and voter information. We do not receive any funding from Democrats Abroad or the Democratic National Party, as we mentioned before, and we must raise all the funds locally, basically by members of our chapter and the board. We hope that you will donate whatever you can to ensure that citizens living abroad in Lake Chapala have access to the tools they need to be informed about current U.S. politics. Including registering, requesting their ballots, and exercising their rights to and duty to vote from abroad. We will gratefully accept your donations today and every day, the website's available, but you can actually easily get it from Democrats Abroad Lake Chapala without any other fancy additions. And I would be available to meet with anyone that needs some help or questions regarding making a donation. I will be out of town for 2 weeks starting tomorrow, but I'll be back 2 weeks tomorrow.
Okay, Terry, did you want to talk any more about our communication goals?
I'm gonna make this really brief, because I've already touched on a lot of things, but essentially what we're trying to do here is, let me set the phone down. we've done a great job over many, many years of telling folks how to vote. But what we've added lately is the why to vote component. Because a lot of folks here in Mexico, as you probably have experienced firsthand, say, I moved to Mexico. I don't do that kind of stuff anymore. Not going to affect me, not going to affect anybody I know. I don't really care. So we're trying to change that perception. As we like to say, what happens in the US doesn't stay in the US, unlike Las Vegas. It just doesn't work that way. Canadians are worried. We've had quite a few Canadians recently show up. I mean, I'd say the world is worried. And while they can't support us directly, we want to make sure that folks know what are the personal implications of setting it out, voting for third parties. We haven't started the third party thing yet, but we're about to do that as well. I know a lot of younger folks do not want to hear that they have to vote or that they have to choose between the very likely candidates, President Biden versus the former guy. But that's the reality. So we're also trying to personalize the impact of, frankly, living under a dictatorship. I don't think a lot of people think much about it. They don't want to think about it. It's not fun to think about it. But I think we have to help folks do that. It's that important. The flip side is we're going to try and do a lot more funny stuff as well. And we'll see how that plays out. And so basically sort of something for everybody to make sure that we really hammer home the point I mentioned earlier about do it early, request your ballot early. You only have to do the request one time. It's good for the entire year. Yay. And get through the system, even in certain challenging counties in Texas. And they've been probably one of the more challenging, but it can happen in any county. Something goes awry, the fax machine doesn't work, that, if you're in California, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So it's like a dress rehearsal. We really want to encourage people to take the primaries very seriously. It's also obviously your chance to vote. So, and help shape who's going to be running and how strong those candidates are in the all-important general election. So I think I'll leave it at that, unless any questions.
Just wanted to add, to not take it for granted. I still hear people constantly tell me, oh, I don't have to worry. I know the people back in the office. Many of them are retiring, and in fact, their rules have also changed. So they've got to read it.
Election offices, right.
Right.
Great.
And I again wanted to thank Terry so very, very much for what he's doing to get out the word. And I just wanted to close with about voting. Voting is like driving. If you want to go forward, you put it in D. If you want to go backwards, you use R.
I would like to say something about about Terry's comment. And I think it would be advisable in many cases to address directly why people are hesitant to vote or to get involved, because people have some real concerns. And I think rather than addressing them generally, in certain circumstances, we should come up with maybe agreed upon answers to certain questions and the resistance to vote at all. Which I gotta do. I will vote, I promise, but I have resistance on this election.
Well, let me, that's a really great point, Donna. Thank you. So I think what you're referring to, is the Israeli-Hamas Palestinian situation. I don't want to
That's huge. Yeah.
dive into that too much.
Excuse me,
But I wanna make sure
Terry, should this be on the general meeting or should it be after the meeting?
I don't know, Janet, what do you think?
We are looking at 10 minutes till 2 right now. I just want to be sure that we have plenty of time to, and I don't want to disrupt anyone's afternoon. So could we possibly talk about this later?
Sure.
Yes, but I wanted to say one thing that people don't necessarily know. And I know it's difficult. It's difficult for me personally. It's difficult for a lot of other folks as well, is we don't talk about anything that's foreign policy. So I know it feels like a hole in our communications. I've been slapped down. I'll be quite honest with you. I even tried to post about something very positive that happened in Chile, a couple years ago. I had to take it down. So we cannot talk about anything that involves foreign policy.
Terry, why is that? Is that a Dems abroad
That's a
policy?
damned abroad global policy.
It's a
biggest
it's a
that you
concern-
don't
courtesy
talk
US
about anything-
policy. We don't
Yeah.
talk about any other, not Mexico either.
Okay,
Not Mexico, right.
It's probably
The biggest con-
DNC.
Yeah, the biggest concern is that we're putting some folks in harm's way. If you live in, probably Ukraine's not the best example, but if you live in, I don't know, Poland, and you start dissing the Russian government, for example, that might put you at risk, and Democrats abroad in general at risk. So that's the thinking. That's all I can really say on it. So, Ilona?
so
Can I
the
add
policy
something?
is that under the aegis of Democrats abroad, you don't even talk about any political issue within your own country.
Within our abroad
Really?
country.
Yes.
Well, I want
That's
to take it from a
interesting.
different angle from what Donna has said, and that is the fact that there's so many people who are claiming to be independents this year with good reason. We don't have a third party. And there is a lot of doubt about what's going on with the two because of their age. So I think our issue should be really that we are trying to capture all the independents and at least give them some hope, because if they seriously do not vote, or they seriously try to vote an undecided or an independent, go for a third party like god awful, Robert Kennedy Jr., we're in big trouble. So that's my answer to Donna is I think we all have lots of concerns, but we need to really keep those independents close by and give them some chance to feel that through us we can give them some hope.
Well, we've
And
also
I personally know a fellow that was in Ukraine, and he had a Dems abroad position in Ukraine, and he had to get out of Dodge in a hurry when everything took place. So we don't want to put any of our own members internationally in jeopardy. We are part of the DNC, and that is it's a courtesy. The DNC, until we have a candidate that's actually promoted at the international convention, and his policies are what we have to stand behind.
But I hear you, Donna. There are 7 reasons to vote on our website. They're still pretty general, but they do get into some detail as well. So we do whatever we can within the limitations that we have.
Okay, I'd love to see, which I have not seen. Obviously,
I'd
I've
be
read
happy to
lots of
forward the link to
articles,
you. Yeah.
but, I'd like to see a very, very simple list of exactly why Biden is our only choice. And by the way, I totally agree that he is, even though I think they're both too old, but that's irrelevant at this point in time. I had a conversation with a woman the other day that just blew me away, and I was left almost speechless. And I would have liked to have access to specific things I could have said, even though I think talking to her would have been a useless waste of time.
You
But
never know.
Anyway,
That's
I'd like
great.
to see that. Yeah.
Cool. Thank you. I'll get that to
Terry,
you.
this is Eric. Before we finish, either before or after the meeting is called to an end, I need some help with the fundraising. I need to make some comments.
I think we're doing that after the meeting.
Yeah.
Oh, let me get the phone. Let me get Janet back on here.
Eric, do you need to broach those issues right now, or do you want to do this after we finish the AGM?
It doesn't. Yeah, I was waiting till the meeting was officially over to.
Okay,
Oh, okay.
We have asked to stay, everyone wanted to stay on because there's a few things that we wanted to discuss after the meeting.
So Janet, do you want to
everybody
call this
please
to
remain-
close?
So, yes, I was just going to thank people for attending. Thank you so very, very much for attending our 2024 annual general meeting. And if you would please consider donating, and you can contact Eric Loria, and the website is listed on your screen. And the alternative, and in addition, you can, if you're considering volunteering, you can contact Dee Dee at that same email address. we'd like to thank you for all your support in 2023. And we'd like to say that we are very, very excited to work with you all in 2024. Thank you so very much. Have a good afternoon.